219.
Forward Progress, a Chicago Bears podcast with Dan Bernstein and Matt Abaticola on 312 Sports.
It is a Bears game day, Monday Night Football tonight, and Forward Progress is here to get you ready for it. We should also mention, as always, we will be there after it's decided to talk about whatever that it actually was. The Bears are in a fascinating position right now at 2-2. With every game, with every week that goes by in the NFL, everything seems to be softening a little bit around them. No one is running away with anything pretty much anywhere, let alone in this wide-open NFC, in a division that at the outset looked insurmountable, that is certainly less insurmountable. I'm not saying the Bears are necessarily getting better, but a victory certainly flips the script on where we thought this was headed after those first two.
Yeah, the Lions take a loss last night at Kansas City. Again, very difficult place to play. The Chiefs now 3-3. The Lions at 4-2. In second place in the division right now with the Packers on top at 3-1-1. They get a win at home yesterday against the Bengals, a more competitive game than I think a lot of us thought it was going to be. My guy Joe Flacco is there throwing a couple touchdowns, not looking as old and as terrible. So what I laughed at when the Bengals made that move to get Joe Flacco, again, they still lost.
They're better with him.
But they're absolutely better with him, that's for sure. So the Packers on top of the division at 3-1-1. It was a really enlightening day yesterday, checking the scores, watching games all day from the early game in London all the way through the night game, the Lions and Chiefs, 2 Monday Night Football games tonight. The blob has gotten bigger. I think the Bears can make a statement tonight in that blob. So there's a big blob, and I think you can kind of bring the Lions back down to earth.
A little bit. They're not in full orbit. They're in a closer orbit than they were before.
Right, and now they're in that closer orbit to the blob with the Chiefs are there. The Bills, we'll see what they do tonight against Atlanta, which could be a competitive game.
If they're interested,
a competitive game.
Yeah, but I didn't think the Bills were interested when I last saw them.
Yeah.
Even though I do think that
that was the Patriots' loss, correct?
The Patriots are better than I thought, and Drake May is starting to grow into himself a little bit. Look out for that, because he's starting to feel it a little bit.
No, he is, and if they get their third win yesterday, 25-19 over the Saints, but the Saints are the Saints. I mean, that's one of the teams that's in that bottom portion of that blob, along with the Titans. The Cardinals aren't that good.
No, nobody's the good. It's getting more difficult to figure out what's meaningful and what's not. So what you have to do is just win these games. And you can help define your own quality rather than using the quality of other teams to have this opportunity right in front of them right now with a lot of storylines that we're going to get into, because this is meaningful because of how it resonates with last year and how it sort of harmonizes with last year. This show, Forward, brought to you by our dear friends at Church Brewing, New Buffalo's brewery-pizzeria in a historic church, wood-fired Neapolitan pizza, small batch craft beer, brunch every day. Visit beerchurchbrewing.com. We will talk more about them in a little bit. So on my list of overall storylines, we have been very specific about Tyke Stevenson and what he's done and how he has handled his situation. He remains a Bear after last year's debacle of his and we've complimented him for how he's owned it, how he has put himself in a position to have a game tonight. I imagine matched up for most of the night with Noah Brown out, with Terry McLaurin out.
Less than 100% healthy.
Correct.
Deebo Samuel.
Big advantages for the Bears. The second storyline is Caleb Williams, Jay Daniels, and the number 1 or 2 picks in the same draft who faced each other last year, and one was better than the other. Williams is coming off a game in which he led a game-winning, happened at the end of that game. To win a road game in the way that they did should be something off of which the Bears can build. The Josh Blackwell blocked field goal attempt, giving them into their weeks of practice here, their week of practice, and understanding that they've got this chance coming out of the bye to do something a lot of Bears teams don't do, is win out of the bye.
Right.
Previously, it's been, more practice has meant bad. Maybe under a new coach, a new regime, it means good. The other storyline is Montez Sweat. What's happened or what's not happened to somebody who is that important to the Bears is now playing like just a guy, and he can't that. And if, in fact, a team's like, maybe we're not going to start out double teaming him. Maybe he's going to have to earn those double teams again. Maybe it's not necessarily we default to double. Has he proved worthy of double teams this year?
And if I'm the Bears' opponent, I don't start with a double team. He's not a guy right now you have to game plan for.
No,
the Commanders are not sitting in a room. What do we do to stop Montez Sweat?
Don't let him wreck what we have. He's not Max Crosby.
Right.
He's not Micah Parsons. He's not Trey Hendrickson. He's not a Bosa. He isn't. Now, there are some guys on the other side in the middle of that line and on the off. But you're right. He is in no way is a defensive coordinator losing sleep over what Montez Sweat is now. He can change that.
Right, but I don't think they start with a team on him. They let him kind of read how the game and what they're going to do with him and make adjustments as necessary. But what he's shown,
and I left Aiden Hutchinson out of that. Sorry, he's a monster.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and what he's shown the first 4 games of the Bears season is you don't need to double team. And remember, if we talked, weeks ago, we talked to Courtney Cronin. She mentioned that he'd only been double teamed, I think, like a handful of times. That teams weren't really going out of their way to double team him, and they were allowing the tackles to one-on-one and to see how they could adjust if needed. And so far, they haven't had to. So if I'm the Commanders, I'm not making special plans to double team or chip or use a tight end or a running back to get on Montez Sweat until he shows that I need to do something to make.
Do to help him maybe is give him some other ways to be disruptive. And if that means in a third down package, if you want to bring Austin Booker in, line him up wide and let him try to speed rush, maybe let's see Montez Sweat play a little 3 technique. Maybe you move him inside. Maybe think about where he is a little bit. I don't think always in twists and games, but I like to think that there's an opportunity defensive game planning wise for Dennis Allen and the Bears tonight. And let me explain. Kyler Gordon is their starting nickel corner, which also means essentially weak side linebacker. As much as we talk about general terms of defense between 3-4 and 4-3, the truth is there's way less 4-3 being played in the NFL as much as 4-2-5. More teams who are supposedly a 40 front is the better description for what most teams do. We used to call them 4-3 teams. It's a 4-man front as opposed to a 3-man front. Mm-hmm. The strong side linebacker has been going away for a while because teams play 11 personnel with 3 wides. And you need that extra corner on the field. For most teams, the nickel corner is a starter. And yet I'm looking at this tonight. And I'm looking at a team in the Commanders that pound away running the ball. They have an unlikely rushing leader in their rookie Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. 7th round pick. Sort of like Kyle Monungai, except effective. And he's been pretty instinctive. I think, what is he averaging? 6.6 yards a carry? That leads everybody. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt is their primary runner. They like to pound away at you, and they're down 2 important wide receivers. So, just tell me, Matty, coach, what you think of this. Why not get Noah Sewell and the now recovered TJ Edwards on the field? Play a 4-3. Use a linebacker. Go big. Clog up the box a little bit. Just get a little more stout. And then instead of having to force Nahshon Wright on the field, play Gordon at the boundary.
Mm-hmm.
You want to blitz him off there? Blitz him off there.
Right. You can do that.
because he's terrific at blitzing. But why not have your best players on the field? And in this case, you don't have to play Gordon as a nickel. And I think Allen knows that. I wouldn't mind if you actually have 3 linebackers out there tonight.
No, that's I think given the injuries and the way it sets up for the Bears defense, I think it's a smart approach to take. We'll see if Dennis Allen has the same thoughts, same perspective on it. It helps your cornerbacks with those injuries. Remember we talked with Herb Howard last week, talked about the matchup difficulty for Tyreek Stevenson on McLaren, but with him out, it allows you to do some different things. That being an option right there. And plus, I love the idea of having more opportunities for Sewell to make plays, because he's been making plays for the first 4 games. He's been showing up, making opportunities, taking opportunities that are given to him to make plays.
Especially because Deebo Samuel is going to play, but we don't know
not 100%.
With the heel injury where he's going to be. I don't know if that's something you can stick a needle into and make it okay for the game, or whether it does inhibit his movement.
I just don't know how you can, though, with a foot thing.
I don't know. They got all kinds of medicinal magic.
Yeah, I know they do. But
There's
that just seems like something,
man,
that you want like full feeling on the ability to cut and make plays. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. And maybe it's nothing, and he plays through it, and there isn't a concern, and his foot is completely free of pain, whatever they choose to do with it. But yeah, I like that approach. And take advantage of it. And we know that he's going to give opportunities to Gordon to make plays as well too. And having him on the bound, you can still blitz him. There's a lot of things that you can do with him, and that's part of the reason why Dennis Allen was excited being here, is having a guy like Gordon.
He mentioned it. So don't necessarily force Nashawn Wright onto the field if you don't, or Nick McLeod. You don't need those guys out there if you don't have to.
But then going back to what they've done, they've been one of the better pass defensive teams in the league so far, with a number of interceptions. 6 or 7 interceptions.
Hasn't thrown one.
Jaden Daniels.
He is not.
Yes.
So maybe that instead. I was laughing because I was listening to the Illinois-Ohio State game, and they were talking about Altman. He has not thrown an interception all year. He's not.
Then he throws an
interception.
interception.
The very next play, it's the Ohio State broadcast I was listening to. Some giant big voice guy they've got on that broadcast. But he was picked off, and then the very next play they were talking about it. So perhaps they can speak it into existence for Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, Washington leads the league right now in yards per game as far as the rushing game is concerned. Buffalo right behind them. Carolina is 3rd, and then Falcons are 4th. So just another thing to keep in mind looking at Monday Night Football, that Bills-Falcons game, 2 teams that just run the ball a lot. Who knows what the score is going to be. And if you're looking to make some kind of play on MyBookie, then maybe take a look at the under there on those 2 teams playing the other Monday Night Football game tonight.
The other thing that the Commanders do is stop the run. They've got stout tackles. They have done a terrific job all year, and obviously you got the rankings in front of you. But the middle of that defensive line with Daron Payne and Javon Kinlaw, with Armstrong and Jacob on the outside, Armstrong has been a find. And you can see perhaps why they're not missing Montez Sweat right now with the emergence of Armstrong, that don't give up on the run, even if you're not seeing dividends early. You've got to keep pounding away. You have to keep pounding away at the midsection of this team over and over and over again. This is a night, I believe, where you can show why you spent the money you did and the resources you did on guard, center, guard. Why you made the moves for Tooney, for Dahlman, for Jackson. Yeah, I know you're going up against a couple of big dudes. I don't care. This is supposed to be a strength of your team. Make it work. Keep pounding. It might not pay dividends early, but keep going at them. And be aware of personnel. Because if you keep going and guys are going to have to come out and they're going to have to rotate people, know the personnel, know the opportunities. And there might be some drives that end prematurely that might help you out later if you just keep pounding away. And I wish they had a sledgehammer running back to be more effective and efficient in that role, because I know it's not Swift, it's not DJ Moore. Whether this is, I don't think Travis Homer being available changes that math materially either. But you could have to slug it out with them.
Yeah, and the Commanders are actually down towards the bottom third in rush defense yards per game. They're at 117. So they give up some rushing yards, but you counter that with looking at the Bears, who are right now 31st in yards per game, rushing yards allowed. They've only played 4 games, and below them is just Miami, who's played 6 games. So the Bears, if there's any kind of rush game for the Commanders tonight, which we know there will be, and then how does that play into play action or getting Jaden Daniels to move out of the pocket and make throws? If they build off that run game, it could be a long night for the Bears defense with the ability for the Commanders to rush the ball, the Bears and their inability to stop the rush. But they can. They can run the ball. So that's what I'm most excited to see is what have they developed and learned and changed in preparation for this week coming off the bye week. We know all the work that's been put into the run game. Ben Johnson talks about he invests more time in the run game than he does the pass game. He knows that everything in his offense starts with a solid run game, and they haven't run the ball particularly well in their first 4 games. And there's been a lot of reasons why. The guys haven't had enough time together. Running backs not hitting the hole. Sometimes it's on the quarterback and making the right calls. Now's your chance to see what you've done and developed over this bye week to get an effective run game at least started, to see what they can do.
And I've been clear about it. I want to see more of a commitment to outside zone. I want to see them stretch it out and hit the cutback. Let Swift find that lane. If you're disappointed in some of his off-script reads, decisions, lack of vision, maybe you make things easier to give him a little more time and a little more holes to look at, because the stuff that moves immediately forward, the gap scheme stuff, he's waiting too long.
Yeah, but
it's taking him too long to move forward. Maybe acquiesce to what he would prefer to do.
But here's what that doesn't make sense in my brain. If the opportunity is there and, go forward, get the ball, go forward, hit this hole here. If he doesn't have the ability to hit the hole consistently that's needed, how do you trust him to have those cutbacks to find an open lane, open hole on his own?
Because it's a different skill. It's a different skill when you know that he has that opportunity to belly it out and to delay, not yet, and cut back and go, rather than him changing his mind and seeing something that isn't there or not seeing something that is there. The whole concept of outside zone is to say no, yes, or no, not yet. Now that one's open. There's no great answer. I understand.
No.
The question you're asking is you're asking for more vision from a guy with bad vision.
Right.
My point is a stretch play can make things easier for him to see.
It's a process. Yeah, no, I get it, because if there's no room to process and he's just not of a mindset to get the ball and go, because we've seen that delay carry out of the backfield, but maybe his brain processes better by being able to stretch it and see. And I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me logically.
I don't want to be programming around what my running back can't do.
Right.
Like that's not how you should be play calling.
You're right.
But it's more about the center too. It's more about that Dahlman is really good at that.
Right.
And here, quick something to watch too. And this is when you saw the Lions doing this last night. When the Ben Johnson running game is where he wants it, the Bears offensive lineman, this is everybody across the board. And even though he says about his left tackles, just protect the passer, just block that guy in passing, he doesn't really mean that, because he wants a second level block. Everything when it's going right isn't just the guy in front of you.
Correct.
The guy in front of you should be the very first thing you do. That's not the end of your responsibility. When this is humming, when Ben Johnson has the running game going the way he wants it, whoever that running back is through the line with another decision to make, with another opportunity to read off a block, because the big guys are on the move. The big guys are through their blocks. They're not stonewalled at the line of scrimmage. They're not either stalemating or losing There's a difference in winning at the line. Some places you're just kind of stalemating in certain systems. Not this one. Not this one. He wants victory. Get that guy blocked and find the next guy.
Yeah, because he talked about that last week when he talked about their inability to block on those deuce reads where you have a guard tackle combo on a guy, the guard releases and gets to the second level to get that backside linebacker. While the original, like if you're going left tackle that way, the right guard pulls, hits the outside man. That left guard then is supposed to engage, release, and hit that backside linebacker, which clears up that secondary lane for a guy like Swift to get through. And they're just not doing that well. And so I don't know if it's the inability to execute, if they don't have the ability to actually do it. That's what he's got to figure out. And now you have Theo Benedict on the left end making a start at left tackle. That brings a whole new wrinkle to things, making a first start at that side. It's going to be interesting to see what they've been able to put together for this whole bye week and then preparation week for the Commanders. I'm excited to see what Ben Johnson has in place because we're getting to a point, Dan, where we can no longer say, all right, the guys need time together. We're getting to that point. That whole point
we've been there for a little bit.
Well, I agree. I think you're there from game one, but even professional athletes, former guys that played the game, say you really don't know who you are in your identity, for 4, 5, 6 weeks into the season. You still don't really know. Fine. I never played. I'm going to stop that criticism. Get it? You guys have that. Fine. But we're getting to that point now. Like we can no longer after 5 games, 6 games say, we're still getting to know each other. No, then you're just not good enough at a point. At a certain point, either you're making the wrong calls or the team's just not good enough to execute what you want.
Yeah, familiarity is not a scouting point.
No.
Generally. I mean, you don't read scouting reports on college offensive linemen and say, needs to be familiar with the man next to him.
No.
It is generally a crutch. It does matter. It is important. But good players get familiar better and faster.
Yeah. Because they go out and execute and do their jobs.
Right.
So eventually that excuse is going to, we're getting down towards the end of that excuse. That the guys need time together. It's either you got it or you don't.
I can't wait to see what they've pared away. Because I think sometimes the best coaching and the best self-scouting, if you can carve away what you don't like, you end up with something you do.
Yes.
It's funny. It's very similar to when I'm asked and honored always to give advice to young people who want to be, writers, podcasters, broadcasters, whatever. And I always say, go by one of my favorite lines is Ernest Hemingway, that a great writer has a built-in shock-proof shit detector. Famous. And this was said to me by a professor, and I've always remembered that. And I do think that it when it comes to self-editing anything, it applies. For Hemingway, it applied in multiple ways because it was knowing bullshit, knowing when something's wrong or someone's lying to you. But more importantly, it's knowing when something's bad, whether it's your own writing, your own work, and you can be a ruthless self-critic. And you should always pare away when you are watching, when you're listening, when you're reading your own work, always pare away what you know sucks. Because if you saw it in somebody else, you would hate it. So when you see it in yourself, get rid of it.
Yeah.
And I would say eventually, when you get rid of the stuff you think sucks, then you can start really finding your own voice, finding your own identity. And an offense is the same way. Play calling, that play card, that's what Matt Nagy never figured out. Ever. He never self-edited until they had to pull it away from it and pull the card out of his hand. And that is such a problem with, you always want to be a bit arrogant. You want that ego, but it's also knowing your team in the moment and saying, we can't block this, or this guy's not good at it. In the bye week, you can say, we're not going to run that anymore. And that's okay. It's all right. And I know that play callers feel more secure with more options. But it can also screw you up. It can also paralyze you. I'm not saying you dumb it down. I just think really understand what they want to run. When that huddle breaks, What can they walk up to that line confident in executing? And you can be confident in calling it because they're confident in executing it. That's what we're going to see post-bye, I hope.
I hope so, too, because he's had enough time to evaluate the first 4 games and use the bye week as an opportunity to self-scout and then figure out what they can do well. Because what I don't want to see anymore is I don't want to see where they stack mistakes on top of each other. And they take a 1st and 10, wherever it might be on the field, and turn that into a 2nd and long, and then turn that into a 3rd and longer.
Well, that was my next note, and that is stop the stupid penalties.
Yeah, it's got to. It's got to. And I think, but it also goes not only just the pre-snap penalties, but also goes to what they're calling that they can run effectively. And there might be a play where the defense makes a better play than you do, and that happens. And that's fine. And the play, like you execute your job well, you're not the reason why the play failed, but they out-executed you as far as the defense is concerned. And that's fine. That happens.
I saw that multiple times with the Lions and the Chiefs last night. I thought George Karlaftis, by the way, he's tremendous. Mm-hmm. And I saw the number of times they didn't fall for the eye candy.
Yes.
The number of times that Steve Spagnuolo's defense was disciplined enough to not buy a lot of the silly things or just the little stuff that they do. Because Goff's a magician with some of the sleight of hand. And I thought that's a good example of a defense being prepared enough to be in position to beat the guy in front of them.
Yeah, and that really is coaching and preparation and game film and knowing your opponent's tendencies. So sometimes the defense will execute and just stop your play, and that's fine. But I just don't want to see the Bears do it to themselves. Like, I want to see a clean game for the Bears.
If you are looking for a party that everyone will actually remember, head to Beer Church Brewing in New Buffalo. It's just a quick trip from Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana. I actually had somebody reach out to me on Instagram and say, hey, I'm going to Beer Church. Should I mention your name? I said, no. I said, if John is there, just go say hi. Just say you were listening to Forward Progress and just go try stuff because Beer Church is awesome. And when you do a party there at the pizza making school, it's unlike anything you're ever going to do with, whether it's a large group or a small group that can handle up to 300, or maybe it's just your fantasy football guys or your poker buddies or your fishing buddies. You want to do something different. Maybe it is something for a work group. Say, hey, let's go do this. Let's go celebrate something with some of these craft beers that they make at Beer Church and some awesome Neapolitan pizza, some of the best I have ever had. And I made it there. I went to the pizza school. I learned everything about how it works and what the history is and exactly how to stretch the dough just right. So skip the same old night out. You can book now, beerchurchbrewing.com in beautiful New Buffalo, Michigan. I have right here their hymnal, what they call their menu.
That's awesome.
Drink, eat, repent, repeat. And this is... It's beautiful to look at, and it's hilarious with some of the way they really lean into the church stuff. They've got a beer called a 7.3 ABV Peach Be With You. Pontius Pilate is a 7.2 ABV Crooked Cross Cream Ale, and the food is just beyond belief. So go watch some games there if you want. It's year-round. They've got a heated outdoor patio deck. There's something for everybody. Wonderfully kid-friendly, too. So my experience there is great. It has been great. Yours will be, too. So check it out for yourself. Beer Church Brewery in beautiful New Buffalo, Michigan at beerchurchbrewing.com. That is beerchurchbrewing.com.
All right. So we're coming to the close of Week 6 here with these 2 Monday Night Football games. And again, talked about being able to evaluate a team and understand a team's identity. Just taking a look at these divisions, Dan, of the NFL blob. AFC East, Bills and Patriots, that's a 2-team race. Dolphins and Jets are done. I mean, they're out of it.
I think you got to fire Mike McDaniel.
I agree.
I love the guy. I think he's a cool dude. I'd love to hang out with him and watch games with him. But... did you hear that they called a player-only meeting and people missed it?
Ooh,
I've never heard of that before.
Not for a player-only.
Yeah,
meeting.
Apparently Tua and they said, well, we've got a leadership problem here. We called a players-only meeting and people were late and some people didn't show up. And you can't fire the players, as is said. I think he's done.
Yeah, I mean I think we talked about this a couple weeks into the season. So at 1-5 now, the Jets at 0-6. So that's a 2-team race there, Bills and Patriots. Steelers, that's their division to have. I mean, if you look at the Bengals, the Ravens, the Browns, they're all done.
Yeah, Steelers could run away with that despite
they're
not
going
being very
to.
good.
No, yeah, 100% they're going to. Because the Bengals, the Ravens, and Browns right now, if you look at their net points from points allowed and points for, they're all negative. They're all negative right now except for the Steelers, and they're barely in the positive at +12. So they're not a very good team, but they're going to win that division pretty easy. In the AFC South, the Colts and Jaguars and Texans are all three really good defenses. And with the ability to put points on the board as well too, so that should be a fun competitive division. Titans are done, and then in the AFC West, you just don't know. Chargers, Broncos, Chiefs. I mean, those are three.
I think you still got to like the Chiefs.
I think so, just based on coaching and Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, they have Patrick Mahomes.
Right. You kind of have to, because I'm still not sold yet on Daniel Jones. I'm just not.
Nor should you be. But more importantly, let's look at the NFC.
And then how about Richardson with a orbital fracture in pregame
because a band snapped?
Yeah, a band snapped.
How heavy a band?
I don't know.
It's crazy though. To break your eye bone?
Yeah.
Like eye injuries are no joke. I've had scraped cornea.
Eye injuries can cause problems seeing.
Believe it or not, yes, you're absolutely right, doctor.
Yeah, it's bad.
But for a band to snap back in your eye and break your orbital bone?
Yeah.
Yikes, man.
Yeah, then take a look at the NFC East. This is interesting. Right now, the Commanders play tonight, obviously, but the Eagles on top at 4-2.
Look at their point differential.
It's -1.
Yep. Don't look now, but look at that point differential. Actually, look now. You should look
unless you have an orbital injury.
Yeah.
The Cowboys at -6, the Giants at -23. So the Commanders at a +33. I mean, they're the top team in that. They get a win tonight. Get on top of that division. That's really interesting to be on top at a -1. Now, then you look at the Packers, the Lions, the Vikings. All three are top defenses in the league.
Oh, let me just say something too while we're on the NFC East.
Yeah,
I know the Cowboys' defense is horrendous. Have you seen the memes about Cam Scatterbo?
Yeah, a lot. There's a lot out there.
Did you send me the one with the baby?
No, I didn't.
Okay. There's two babies in high chairs. And one of the babies has the head-shaped helmet on.
Okay.
And I don't know if they photoshopped it navy blue, but he's just slamming his head. Both kids are screaming, and the other kid is just slamming his helmeted head into the back of the seat of the high chair. And it was captioned Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo. Because Scatterbo just looks for things to run into.
Yeah.
Like, I imagine him just walking down the street, just turns and slams into a building.
Didn't he had three touchdowns the other night?
Yeah.
Thursday night? Yeah.
98 yards rushing. Yeah. But it's fun to have the new blood and the Giants get a win, but that dude is something. Packers 3-1-1. The Lions look vincible, perhaps, at 4-2. Vikings at 3-2, and the Bears can stick their nose right in it with a win.
Yeah, they certainly can. And then your Buccaneers at the top of the NFC
They are
South.
Mine. They are mine.
Well, that was a great pick.
33-1.
Good pick. And their net points at +14. The Panthers, the Falcons, with strong running games. And then the Saints are done. They're out of it. And it's funny you point out the Eagles. Look at the 49ers and their net points on top of that division at -3. -3 leading that division, which is 4-2, 4-2, 4-2 for the Niners, the Seahawks, and the Rams. The Cardinals are just a bad team. Mm-hmm. So that's a 3-team race right there. We'll see what happens. But I'm just not totally believing in the 49ers. I don't like Brock Purdy. I just don't. I haven't. I never have. I'm not going to change my mind on it.
When do they get Kittle back?
Oh, I don't even know.
Because they're doing this without Kittle.
Right. And McCaffrey's actually, I think, is averaging 120, 125 yards from scrimmage a game. So he's doing his part.
He doesn't look the same.
He doesn't. No, and he never will. He's never going to look like the Christian McCaffrey that he was. He just can't. That's too much on too many injuries on the lower half. He just can't.
Did you notice there is a McCaffrey that?
Did you see the Fred Warner injury?
I read about it. Ugh. I don't want to see it, but it sucks. I mean, that's losing him.
Immediate air cast.
Yeah,
it's bad.
It's bad. But Luke McCaffrey is a backup wide receiver on the Commanders.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like the runt of the litter, I guess, where he's not really good, but he does all the McCaffrey things.
Yeah.
Because he knows the whole playbook and he plays super hard. He was a wide receiver at Rice, 6'2", 195. Not really fast, but totally McCaffrey. He got everything but the natural speed and leaping ability and all that stuff. He can't really run, but he's exactly what you think he is. So I would imagine it's a name that you're going to see and hear tonight in various personnel groupings. So just while we're talking McCaffrey, just know that there's another one in a Washington uniform.
And you see if the Bears can get a win tonight, get to 3-2, and to keep the NFC North as the only division with teams at 500 or better. That's where they're at right now, the only division in football at 500 or better.
I will say, I'll let you in on the process here. Just so you know, my DBU pick on Dan Bernstein Unfiltered was Zach Ertz over 27.5 yards receiving. I just think he's going to end up probably being the open guy on more occasions. And if in fact they find him as a pressure release, that's reason for my bet. But the other thing I looked at was Luther Burden. I still think that it's going to be really, really hard for an offensive-minded coach who is constantly preaching explosives to not include Burden in post-bye week game planning. If you're really going back and watching the film, an objective person who, and you don't know names and numbers, an objective viewer of that tape is going to say, that guy's got to play more. That guy's got to be more involved. He's just fast. He's fast. He is explosive. And I wouldn't be surprised. He already had his 100-yard breakout game. There's going to be another one this year. Why wait? Why wait? And I don't care who I piss off.
Yeah, no, I don't think Ben Johnson cares who he pisses off. But when we also, a few weeks back, talked about this, when Ben Johnson was mentioning guys not practicing the right way or hard enough, and he made it a blanketed statement for the entire team. Mm-hmm. The question was asked about Loveland and about Luther Burden, and then he took it into that direction and brought up Cole Kmet as well. Is he doing enough during the week to get himself involved more in the game plan? That's what was said a few weeks ago. And I think if he, and I agree with you, I want to see him. I want to see more opportunities, but is he doing what he needs to do to get himself in the game plan? Ben Johnson made it clear. If you don't during the week, you're not going to.
All right. 18.5 receiving yards is the over-under. That's one catch.
It is one catch.
It's one catch.
But he's got to be on the field.
I know. It's one catch. Over-under 18.5 for Luther Burden. I know I would have a difficult time keeping him off the field.
No, I agree. And then that plays into the part of what is Ben Johnson doing with DJ Moore. We saw that there might be some more opportunities to run out of the backfield with the lack of a running game at this point. So a lot to see tonight. But again, the Bears can make a big statement in the NFL blob to kind of climb to the higher parts of the blob with a win on the road against Washington. I'm excited to see Tyreek Stevenson and to see how he plays tonight, to see where his mindset is.
What if there's a Hail Mary?
And he picks it off this time,
just
or
saying,
doesn't tip it?
What if there's a Hail Mary? Everybody's going to go crazy.
Yeah, they are.
That is going to do it for Forward Progress for today, but not for the actual day. That's going to do it for this particular episode. We will be on live immediately when the Bears-Commanders game is decided. Word. We will be on.
I was like, wait, what's happening?
So don't miss it. You're going to want to be there because we don't have to wait for press conferences. We just press a button and we're going to be right there on YouTube. Follow Forward Progress. Subscribe to Forward Progress on YouTube. Make sure you set up, click the bell icon to get an alert. Up, they're on, and then you're with us. We'll be featuring your comments, responding to them in real time as Maddie pops them up on the screen. I'll have my bizarre notes in front of me for whatever ends up on a piece of paper for this game. And if the Bears are 3-2, we're gonna be able to kind of enjoy dreaming of better things.
Hey, what? Let me throw this at you. I was thinking about this. What if we were to do tomorrow's Forward Progress episode live also? What would you think of that?
At 1:00?
To do a live show. We could do it whenever we want. Just to do a live show during the day of Forward Progress.
I'm in. You want to run it by the bosses?
Yeah, let's see what we can do. It'd be fun to get some reaction and comments from people live during a Forward Progress on a Tuesday after Monday Night Football. Got a live post game show.
Maybe people don't stay up, and you want
to jump on in and celebrate, or as you say, commiserate on a Tuesday together.
I'm down.
It could be fun.
Okay.
Well, we'll see.
No dump button.
No dump button.
Okay.
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see what the night brings. Because it was funny. Somebody emailed and said we need a live DBU after Game 5 on Saturday, and I responded to him and I was like, I said I thought of it. I really did, and I was going to talk to Dan about it, but I didn't know what kind of mindset I would be in, and I'm glad that we didn't talk about it or promote it because it would have been all you with me just sitting on the screen.
I don't think so.
Oh, yeah, dude. When that game ended, I couldn't get the remote fast enough.
Yeah, it happened pretty fast, too.
I
unlike these other games, this thing was like bing, 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 over. Oh,
yeah.
Okay, great.
Anywho. All right, so something to keep in mind, but for sure.
We'll see you tonight.
Tonight, after the game ends, when we decide it's over, we are going to be live. Get the alert, bell icon. Join us after Monday Night Football, hopefully celebrating a Bears victory.
10, 219, 219.
Forward Progress. A Chicago Bears podcast with Dan Bernstein and Matt Abaticola on 312 Sports.